Hey everybody, Frick the Tech Guru here. A couple months ago I released a video on some awesome modifications that you can do to your Arcade1up machines. And I just finished 3 more today that I plan on sending out to some customers. And I just wanted to show you what I've done. These are some different modifications than the last time. For those of you who aren't familiar with these or did not see my previous video, an Arcade1up is simply an inexpensive way to bring a real retro feel to any home office, man cave, living room, to give that feel of the old arcade machines. When you buy these, they come with just a couple games, as you can see here on the bottom. They don't come with much, but with a little bit of modifications, you can turn them into so much more. Since my last video, I've been active on a modding community on Facebook, and at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some of the modifications that they've done, which are far better than what I've done, and you can really customize these to however you like it. The first one I'm going to start with here is the Ninja Turtles one. This is one of the newer Arcade1up machines that they have. This is a Generation 3, so it's the third part of the third lineup of games that they've sent out. And the advantage to this one right out of the box, number one, it comes with a custom riser. So when you buy these risers to make them a foot taller, they usually just look like this. And these cost about $50 US, anywhere between $40 and $50. This one comes with one out of the box, which is nice. Keeps the theme throughout the whole machine. Another advantage to this one when you buy it is that it comes with 4 players, so 4 joysticks. This also makes it a little more difficult to modify, but certainly not impossible. And the screen ratio on these machines is actually a little bit different as well. The older machines had a screen ratio of 5:4, where these ones are 4:3. So when you modify them, you do have to buy a different type of adapter, but I'll link all that in the description. So what I've done with this one, besides taking out the internal components, I've replaced it with a Raspberry Pi 3 model B+. It's running an image on it, 128 gigabyte image on it that has, I'll show it to you in a second. I think I showed it in my last video actually, that has games from quite a few systems. Let me talk about the control board here. So by default, when you get this, it has the 4 players, obviously representing the 4 Ninja Turtles. And each player only has 2 buttons, which was fine for the 2 games that come with the machine. But if you're modifying and you're adding more games to it, you're going to need more buttons to be compatible with all those games. So what I've done here, I've made Michelangelo first player, Donatello second player. As you can see, I've replaced all of the buttons. I tried to keep the original color buttons, but the package that I bought came with green buttons instead of purple for Donatello. So that's the only one that doesn't match. So for first and second player, I've added 6 buttons. This will make it compatible with games such as Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom and all those fighting games that require 6 buttons. And then for players 3 and 4, I added 4 buttons. I could have added 6 buttons for them as well, but I find that most arcade games, in fact, I don't know any arcade games that are 4 players that require more than 3 or 4 buttons for the 3rd and 4th player. So if you're playing games, I have NBA Hang Time playing on this right now, which is a 4-player basketball game. You only need 3 buttons, the shoot, the pass, and the turbo. Same with NBA Jam or NHL Open Ice, games like that. So you don't really need any more than 3 or 4 buttons for the 3rd and 4th player. So that's why I did that. That's why I put less buttons for those. I get a lot of questions on that. As you can see, I've also drilled holes for the coin buttons. And then you will see a player button for each one as well. Some people like to put the coin buttons down here, either part of this sloping piece here or part of the bottom there as well. So that is the Ninja Turtles one. I'll just show you real quick. If we press the coin button and first player button at the same time, it will bring us back to the menu. And I think this is the same menu that I used on my previous video, but I'll just show you. You can simply go to pretty much any system you want, all the way from arcade up to PlayStation 1. You can put Nintendo 64 on here too, but I find that they don't run good enough to really warrant the amount of space that you take up. So I usually put more PlayStation 1 games on there. You can see all the systems on there, and then you can pretty much go to any game that you want. All the games have a description there below, as well as a video of each game. So that's the Ninja Turtles one I've done. If you're curious of how much I would actually sell this for, this would be probably, I'm in Canada, so it'd probably be around $1,100, $1,200 I would sell it for. With all the parts you have to buy, you do have to buy more sets of buttons. It's about $80 US for a 4-player button set. So around $1,100–1,200 Canadian, which is around 800–900 American. The next unit I'm going to show you is the Pac-Man. Now, I also had an old Mortal Kombat 2. This is an official Mortal Kombat 2 Arcade1up. In fact, it's the one from over here, which I'll show you later. I didn't like the button layout as much, but for what I'm using it here, it works perfectly. Now, the thing you have to remember if you plan on modding one of these is that some cabinets have horizontal screens and some of them have vertical. So if you look at these two side by side, you'll notice that the Turtle screen is more square, whereas the Pac-Man screen is a vertical screen. There was quite a few games, old arcade games that had a vertical screen, Pac-Man being one of them, games like Arcade1up, most of the shoot 'em up games, this game that's playing right now, which is Blades of Steel. So the image that I'm running here for the games is based on someone named Mr. Burns who made it. It's a vertical image. So if I just press, I have to use two of my hands here. If I just press start and select at the same time, it's going to show you. So this is a different, has a very simple menu here. It has about 800 games on it, I think. And all of these games are meant for vertical screens. So that's how that works there. So that's a little bit different. I do plan on replacing the monitor in this one before I sell it. I'm going to replace it with a horizontal, just because I don't like being limited by just the vertical games. You can still play horizontal games on a vertical screen, but what it will do is it will take up, it'll have two big black bars on the top and the bottom, unless you want to stretch it, which makes it look pretty funny. So that's the Pac-Man one. I did the same sort of thing, LED buttons, different layout than the previous one. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat layout. I like the Street Fighter one better, but I had this laying around, so I thought I would use it. It has enough buttons. It has 6 buttons for each player. And then I did put the coin buttons there for that one. So that's also running a Raspberry Pi 3B+. And that's the Pac-Man one. So I just finished that one today as well. Finally, and this might be the one that I keep. I haven't actually sold it yet, but I really like it. It's a work in progress. This is a Mortal Kombat one. This is the Mortal Kombat Costco bundle. It has a light up marquee, which I don't have turned on right now. And it comes with the customizer as well. And as you can see, it also comes with the custom stool. So that one is from Costco. It's one of the most difficult bundles to find. I was lucky enough to get it online and get it shipped to the States. Like I said, I'm in Canada, and I went down and picked it up. The biggest modification I did to this one, you'll notice, is that the screen is a lot bigger. I've updated this screen with a 20-inch screen with the help of Tulsa Arcades. And this is a kit that you buy. I actually have another one here. It's still in the bubble wrap, but it's a whole kit that you buy that you can replace a monitor. And as you can see under here, I have a Dell 20-inch monitor that I plan on putting in this Pac-Man one, similar to this. So it upgrades the screen. It also updates the resolution. It's a much better monitor than you would find that ships with an Arcade1up machine. It's also a lot more costly. But another advantage is when you buy your own monitor and put it in, you don't need to buy a converter board for the monitor. You can use a basic VGA, or depending on the monitor, you can use HDMI. Some people put widescreen monitors in, but I find you get the most viewing space if you put a 4:3 ratio 20-inch monitor in there. Another thing I did with this, kind of as an experiment, is I made my own control board from scratch. I took a 1/2-inch piece of MDF, cut it to the same shape. I primed it, painted it, and then as an experiment, what I did was I used my wife's Cricut machine, which is, sorry for the mess over here, I haven't cleaned up yet. One of these Cricut machines which cuts out pretty much any shape you want. So I just cut out the Mortal Kombat symbol with vinyl, as well as the words, put them on, and then I added a light coat of spray paint over top just to make it kind of look a little more, you know, damaged and dirty with the black. And then I added a couple coats of protectant to kind of keep everything sealed down there. I did 8 buttons per player. 8 buttons because Again, this system will have pretty much every system up to, well, actually it'll be more than that. I'll explain that in a second. You got your player coin buttons. These are also gold plated buttons. I just found these recently, so I thought the gold plated would go really nice with the Mortal Kombat. It certainly does with the yellow and the red, I find. Not so much with the blue and the green. It doesn't really fit the theme, but I'm probably going to get another set of yellow and red and put them over here. And then these are replacement bat tops, just a little bit different, transparent with the bubbles in them. You can get these also with lights in them, LEDs in them, but I didn't do that. I just put the LED buttons. The big thing with this, besides the screen update, is that this one is running on a PC. So that makes a world of difference. When you're running a PC, you can basically run a lot more programs. Obviously, PCs are a lot more powerful than Raspberry Pis. So as you can see, I'm running Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on here, which is pretty much impossible with the Raspberry Pi 3B+. It is possible with the new Raspberry Pi 4s. But you can also play a lot of PC games. So I have a keyboard hooked up to it. So if I just, if we can get out of this game here. So I can just, it's running a full version of Windows. Sorry for the reflection there, but it's running a full version of Windows. So I have MAME on here. I have Street Fighter, Tekken, Ultimate Street Fighter 4. I have Mortal Kombat 11, which runs well. Doesn't fit the screen properly because it's not made for older square-shaped screens. But so if I wanted to load Street Fighter, for example, it loads up there pretty quick, and it works very well with the buttons and LEDs. So those are the three new arcade machines. Like I said, I'm going to show you some more that people have done from the modding community on Facebook. Really good work. But you know what? I highly recommend these things. I'm a huge fan of the arcades. Always have been. And like I say, this is probably the cheapest and funnest way to get these games in your home and be able to relive your childhood arcade classics. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the bell if you want to hear some new notifications. And leave your questions in the comments. I'll be happy to help you guys out. Have a good one.